welcome to there it is, Super Squad D live, the live show. It's got Tyler in it. Was I supposed to say anything else about him? I wasn't going to. That one's me. That is who I am, and here I am in the video. There we go. Tonight's special guest is British comedian Monty Python. So that's pretty exciting. Here's the show then. Super Squad D. We're still doing this joke. By the way, we're still sticking with this this joke. Wow. What an intro and what a time to be alive. That over there is pop sensation Paula Abdul.
And that right there is pre-show old guy before he turned old.
Pre-show old guy. That's what they call me. And this is Super Squad D. The D still stands for super social distancing. We're keeping that joke alive, I think.
I like the fact that the D itself stands for super social. So it's Super Squad, super social distancing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
I'm with it. Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
It's going to catch on. That's a good, solid hashtag.
If it doesn't catch on, then I will leave the country.
He'll do it. He'll move straight to New Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. Only the newest of Mexicos for me. Thank you. Hey, welcome to the show. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day and evening. Because we are, maybe?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Good enough day.
Sure.
Good enough day. We have a few things lined up for some discussion time tonight. But before we get into that, we actually had a quick addition to our scheduling, our programming for tonight, and it involves seeing the trailer for Batman: Death in the Family.
It's true. There's a trailer, and we saw it.
So, you know what? If you're watching this live stream, if you're watching the recording of it later on because you couldn't make the live stream, and you want to avoid spoilers about this particular film, then skip ahead for, let's just say, the next 3 minutes. Skip 3 minutes into the future. I'm starting my timer now. Tyler, what were your initial thoughts on this trailer that
I
dropped?
saw it, and my first thought was, a new DC animated film. And then I watched the trailer and thought, that was a trailer that I saw, and it was good. And that was pretty much it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, the trailer was interesting to me because if you guys haven't seen the trailer yet, DC is trying something new with their animated films where it's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And so it looks like they've just made 6 movies and you kind of choose the path you want your movie to go, which is interesting to me because I do think it will have a lot of rewatchability. I think I will probably watch all the different ways that the movie can go. So it's going to be really interesting, I think, as a concept for how a movie is done and presented. So I'm interested in that aspect of it. I mean,
Netflix has been doing that with a number of things, actually. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt put out a Choose Your Own Adventure movie. I want to say there was obviously there was the, what was it called? Bandersnatch, the movie from the show, the Twilight Zone-esque show that people love that I've never watched. Black Mirror, that's it. I've never seen it.
That's the one.
But, so that's kind of a somewhat trend right now, which is weird, right? That's a weird trend to get into.
It is a weird trend. I do think that it really throws back to some of these late 90s, early 2000s books. Am I right?
I hate the segue that you dropped on me, but at the same time, I love you for it.
Thanks, man.
That's the theme for today's episode is, okay, so if you're watching, if you're familiar, you know that Tyler and I have been friends for a long, long time. I believe
I would really contend with almost every word you said in that sentence. But keep going.
Okay, all right. I want to know the words that you agree with because there were a lot of
I would agree with
Your own name, I would assume.
well, that's debatable. I would agree with the word I because I do think you were speaking for yourself right there.
That's fair.
Tyler and I would agree with have.
Okay.
I would definitely agree with I and have out of that sentence. Tyler and I have been friends for a long, long time. I would agree with have and I.
I'll give it to you. I'll accept it. I'll give it to you. Okay, so Tyler and I have been aware of each other's existence for the better part of almost going on 30 years at this point. We met very young.
Oh my God, dude, we're so old.
Yeah, it was probably about 25 years. We'll say 25 years ago. But grade
hurts.
school. Grade
That
school. And most notably, our formative years happen to have really been in the early 2000s.
It's true.
When we were in high school, when we graduated high school, we went off to college and stopped talking for a few years and, and then reconnected.
Yeah, that happened.
It's what you do in college. But so here's what sparked this train of thought. I know I've been rambling a lot, but Spotify, for whatever reason, has been recently creating playlists for me that have a lot of music I listened to in high school.
Yeah.
And I don't know what prompted Spotify to do this, but it got me
Have
thinking
you
a little
been
bit
watching a lot of the OC and hearing Phantom Planet's intro, California, and
Yes.
thinking Jason Schwartzman,
Yes.
Rushmore, hello,
Yeah.
and hello.
Yeah. That honestly kind of sets me up for something I was going to talk about in a little bit here. So there you go. But that coupled with the fact that I just watched Avatar for the first time and I never watched it and it's a show from the early 2000s, got me thinking about what from our high school, early 2000s, mid 2000s, high school, college years, do you still hold on to as being good or would like to see a kind of a resurgence in? Because we know that once things hit that about 20 years ago range is when they start to kind of get trendy again in some sort of aspect.
Yeah.
What do you think should come back? And along with that, of course, a great time to say hello to everyone in the chat, in particular, M. Scott, David Codd, showing up and showing out already.
That's right. That's
So,
right. David
something popped to
Codd.
your head?
David Codd repping Goosebumps, which is
Yes.
a fantastic suggestion, and I highly support it. All in on Goosebumps. All in.
Goosebumps freaked me out a little bit when I was a kid. Of course, that was a little bit more 90s, but it freaked me out a little bit. So I never really got into the Goosebumps that much because, well-stated fact, I am a coward.
I am a big fan of the fact that David Codd said that music from high school is objectively superior no matter what your age. I think that's something that everybody can agree on. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
also have an affinity for growing up with older brothers that were big into music in the 90s. I have an affinity for most 90s music as well.
Yeah, me too. No doubt. No doubt.
Somehow, actually, I overlooked Scott's comment about how people got to vote for the ending of Death in the Family back in the day. I was unaware of that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. That storyline in general, I know I've read it. I read it once, but I wasn't paying close attention. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, fans
wanted to see
really got
Joker.
to choose, and they chose kill off clearly a beloved character. So I was thinking about this, what was popular, and for me in my mind, it was easier to segment it based on movies and comics and games, anime, and then TV shows. So I just kind of broke it down those categories and wanted to do a deep dive. And I just picked a few things from each category. So one of the movies, just kicking off the discussion with movies that I think still hold up tremendously today, should totally regain popularity. I don't know if they should remake it, but I absolutely believe they should make a sequel to one of these films.
Because that's another thing that's popular. If you're not rebooting a franchise, then you are making a totally unnecessary sequel.
Well, we know you're not making a new franchise up. We know that's not happening.
Right. No, we're
Nothing
done with
new.
that. We're done with that.
So that's the movie Orange County.
Yeah.
Orange County is
No
a
question.
fantastic film. Great comedy. One time, for no apparent reason at all, I decided to watch that film 14 days in a row, and Joseph joined me for a large portion of it, I feel.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I hit double digits. It was school got done, I would show up at your house, I'd kind of halfway pay attention to the movie because at that point in time we were like 9 days in. We kind of would do other things, but we had it on and we were doing something, and we'd get done with it and like make ourselves a super sandwich, and then I'd go home.
Dude.
You know,
so good, dude, so good. So Orange County would be one of the films, and then the other film that I thought about that I just absolutely love, and I don't think they should remake it, but I still think it's one of the greatest films and one of the most underrated films because no one ever talks about it in like the last 20 years as being one of the greats. And that's the film Memento by Chris Nolan. That film is so good. Like when I saw that, it challenged my thinking on what a film could be and how a film could be made.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, anyone that likes Nolan movies now owes everything to Memento, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie, just ever. I watched it with my brother Nathan, and I distinctly remember. I love anytime like a movie when it gets done, it's like caught me off guard because for whatever reason, I'm pretty good at like seeing where stories are going. So a lot of times, like if a twist is coming, I'm kind of like, okay, cool. And that was one that, you know, you don't know at all what's going on in it until the very end. And once it got done, Nathan and I literally looked at each other, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I got up and like left the room, and he like went to his bedroom. I like went to my bedroom. I like laid down on the bed, and I was just like, whoa. And that was kind of good, you know? Yeah, those are good choices.
So what about you? You got any films that you think really held up?
You know, films aren't one I really thought about a huge amount. Because from that era, I mean, obviously you got you got like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know,
which they should absolutely remake. I think if there's anything that they should remake and scrap the original, it's Lord of the Rings.
Right. Let's just reboot it. Let's do it the way Tolkien would have wanted it. Lots of robots, lots of explosions. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Get Michael Bay in here.
Yeah, get Michael Bay. My wife recently got, I guess, just, you know, bored enough to watch Six Underground on Netflix.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm in it, dude. I'm into it.
Are you in it? Are you in the movie?
I'm in it, yeah. I'm the guy who's 6 underground, like 6 feet underground.
Yeah, so... That's what it's about, yeah. And it was pure... I kept walking into the room. It was pure chaos. It opens up with like 22 minutes of a car chase scene. Just absolute, like, Michael Bay to the extreme. And honestly, I had to respect it. Like, I had to respect it a little bit.
That's fantastic. That's what Netflix fans like, man. When you look at the top Netflix films of all time, they're all, like, dumb action films. I'm a guy who likes those. I mean, wait, six feet under? 6 under?
Six Underground.
That was the sequel to Holes, to Disney's Holes, correct? With Shia LaBeouf?
With
how far could they go underground?
With Sheila Beef. What's up, Hayden?
Hayden in the chat. What up, dog?
Shout out to Scotland from Central Mississippi. Look at that.
I'm with it. Yeah, that's good. So what categories did you think of? Like hit up a category you really thought of.
Well, when I was thinking back to those days, some of my fondest memories involved video games, obviously, because that has been such a formulative thing for me. It's funny looking back on how I didn't really watch a huge amount of TV back then if it was not after school DBZ Gundam Wing.
No doubt.
And then from that time frame, I'll let you mention it in a little bit because I feel like you're going to head that way, but a certain anime that we have a soft spot in our skulls for. And we'll talk about that one a little bit later on. But video games for me, you know, that was when the PS2 had first come out.
Yeah.
And the rumor mill was that Saddam Hussein was going to try to buy all the PS2s in the world, which is a rumor I completely forgot about.
That's a great master plan, dude.
Oh, so good. For me with video games, okay, so we had Sega Genesis when I was a kid. We had a Nintendo 64. We never had an original PlayStation. So when the 2 came out, that was the first foray into PlayStations. And like the first game I got was a PlayStation 1 game because I had always wanted to play it and then didn't and got it. Anyway, so about that time though, a couple of games stood out that have a lot of emotional attachment for me. One of them being That's when my younger brother and I were first introduced to Dynasty Warriors
Oh man.
and the entire Musou genre of video games. Now, I can't say that it should come back because Lord knows they crank out like 50 of those games every year.
It hasn't left. It's never gone.
It's never gone. But I will say that oddly enough, look at this. A game that deserves a little bit of credit is actually Dynasty Warriors 9, which
okay.
like my brother and I would play all the PS2 Dynasty Warriors games for a long, long time. And like, I forget how many we actually owned on the PS2. It was so many of them. I played them a lot. Didn't get them for a while because they're all the same. And then 9 came out, and it was an open world game. Like, it wasn't, here's a map that you go and fight all these enemies. It was, the map is China, and you wandered all around China the whole time. And it was, as far as, like, Musou games go, it was kind of a welcome change. And so I was actually pleasantly surprised with it. So this is like a blast from the past that they did bring back.
That's true. I got a blast from the past game that I thought you would for sure have on your list.
Okay, hit me with it.
It is a game, you might have heard of it, you probably have it. It's called Warcraft 3. So,
yes, sir. Which they did bring back.
He said the interesting thing is they kind of remade it, but like half-heartedly, and it got really terrible reviews, and people were very disappointed about it. But Warcraft 3 was such a game changer. Like, I never played a real-time strategy game. I think I played Warcraft 1. I never really got into it on like the old PC. It was like Windows 98 or something.
No game has ever shown its age more than Warcraft 1. Yeah, it was showing its age by the time Warcraft 2 came out.
Absolutely. So I didn't really get into super into that, but then when Warcraft 3 came out, I just totally loved it, and it was a good, solid game. And I'm surprised that obviously they went on to make World of Warcraft, which is one of the largest and most successful games of all time. But you would have thought that at some point they would have taken a dev team and continued on the Warcraft RTS game. And I'm kind of surprised they never did another one.
I wonder if they trapped themselves by making it so the Warcraft narrative kept going in WoW. So then they couldn't have like a separate Warcraft 4 narrative to go with. Yeah. Like, I wonder if that's part of it. Or, I mean, obviously, the answer is they make a lot of money off of World of Warcraft, so why are they changing it? Exactly. So, anyway. Yeah.
I'm with you, dude. So that was one of mine. Oscar in the chat.
Yep. What's up, Oscar? Yeah. And I noticed there's a significant lack of people like Oscar and M. Scott and everyone in the chat, and David Codd, giving us some of their things that they hold on to tightly from their high school days. Maybe you're afraid of showing your age.
Probably.
Okay.
That's probably it.
But I'd love to hear y'all suggestions too.
That's probably it. So one of the other things, piggybacking off of your PS2 story, because I remember I didn't have a PS1, and I always wanted a PS2.
Yeah.
And I asked for it for like 3 Christmases in a row, and instead I got like a leather jacket because what 15-year-old kid doesn't want a leather jacket?
Oh,
am I right? Thanks, Mom.
I had no idea your parents hated you so much.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. They were very against me getting a PS2.
A leather jacket in Central Mississippi? Like, when are you ever gonna wear that?
A leather jacket anywhere at 15 is just not cool. It's just not happening. Like, it's just not a good gift. It's not a good plan. Still got it though. It's a members only jacket. Interestingly enough,
you could probably eBay that thing, man. Make you some cash.
That's true. But I remember we took a trip to Washington D.C. Our school did, and I went on the trip, and my parents gave me like $150 for all of our meals. It was like a 9-day trip, and I remember taking that cash and thinking I was 15, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat like a dog this trip, and I'm going to put this money and buy me a PS2. And so the whole trip, everyone's like, hey, we're eating out. We're eating steaks. We're eating all these places. And I was like, yeah, I'll have some crackers and a side of water, please. And I saved.
You got any of that free bread? You want to just toss that over here?
Just keep going with the free bread. So I saved almost all the money, and I bought a PS2. And at that time, I bought 2 games, and these are the 2 games that really still stick out, largely because of nostalgia. But
Yeah.
one of them was Marvel vs. Capcom 2,
One of
which
the
was
greatest
amazing,
fighters.
and I loved it. One of the greatest fighting games, and still to this day, one of the best fighting games of all time. The roster was just so big, it was so fun. And then this game, they're actually remastering. They've already done one remaster. I don't know if they're remastering this specific one, but it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Yes.
And I freaking played the mess out of that game, dude. I love Tony Hawk games. I loved, it was just such a good game, dude. Hours and hours and hours into that game. And I'm really shocked that they have not continued that series. Like they tried to do some like new technology things. Like, let's give you a real board where you can stand on it. Like, no one cares, dude. Just make a good, solid Tony Hawk game. And
give us Guitar Hero, give us Tony Hawk. Don't blend the two of them together, all right?
Guitar Hero is another great one. That's another great one. It was just such a good game, and then like they just it all went down because they kept trying to like reinvent the wheel, and it ended up being disappointment.
Not worth it. Not great with that. I forget what exactly it is. I think it might be like the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater. They're doing like a full remaster.
1 and 2.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy it day one. Absolutely. I love it.
Right. No question. No question. Something that's kind of along those veins of like, kind of rooted in reality a little bit, but also kind of over the top. One of the games I had in my list were the first, I guess 2 in particular, maybe the third one, of the NBA Street series.
Oh, dude, that game was that was a banger.
Okay,
like a straight banger, dude.
Like, people love NBA Jam, and I get it. Like, when it comes to, like, nostalgia, like NBA Jam, he's on fire, is it the shoes? All that stuff, it's great. But NBA Street 1, and in particular NBA Street Volume 2,
dude,
one of the most perfect, like, arcade fun, you don't have to actually like basketball to enjoy this game sort of things. Like, it had collectibles. You could unlock legendary players, unlock outfits. It had...
Dude, it was amazing.
So good. The third one was good. They tried to make a 4th one. It was trash. And they never brought it back after that. They brought back NBA Jam. And that was another one from the early 2000s into high school that I played a lot of.
Good drops in the chat here. David Codd saying that he's playing obviously Legend of the Dragoon and Jet Force Gemini. I'm ashamed to say I've never played Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah, me either.
I'd really like to, though. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
That was if I'm trying to remember, Jet Force Gemini had I think one of the things that was interesting about it is that it had like an unlockable character. Yeah, that was it. It had like an unlockable character maybe that you could like beat the game, unlock it, play again. I might have that confused, but I think it was one of the early ones for that. But yeah, I never played it. And I dabbled in Dragoon, but never got into Dragoon, and I feel like I should. So maybe I'll just, find a emulator or something. I don't know.
We can grab an emulator. Let's go, dude. Maybe we'll do a live stream of Jet Force Gemini because I'd totally be into that game.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Tim Scotter said that he was super into Scream movies. Dude, those were super popular. Like, wasn't Jennifer Love Hewitt? No, she was in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or was it? I don't know. I remember it was like Scream, and then I Know What You Did Last Summer was super big. I was too afraid to see either one of them, so like, I don't know.
I'm a coward.
I'm a major coward. Too scary. SmackDown 2, Resident Evil 3. Dude, I played Resident Evil 3. I think that was the only Resident Evil game I played, and it was really fun. I was scared 99% of the time.
Right. I'm trying to remember if I played any of them back then. I think the only Resident Evils I really played were the ones that were less horror, more just like action. So, the ones that no one actually likes, like 4 and 5 or something like 5 and 6, something like that. I forget.
Kevin wants to know if I skateboard, and I think the answer is pretty obviously yes. I skateboard. The last time I skateboarded, it was a brisk 2007, and I laid down on my stomach, and one of my really good friends from high school named Oliver Hodge, shout out to Oliver, had a video camera, and he was like, hey, let me film this. And I laid down on my stomach to go down like this giant round hill. and it was at our school at college. And so I laid on my stomach and I started going down. It was really fast, and then a car approached. So I took a sharp turn, and which took me down like a really steep hill. And as I'm going down, I'm just screaming, "Help! Help!" And he's running beside me, but he's just filming. He's not helping me. And so I didn't know what to do. Like, I really thought I was going to break my neck. So I just shoved my hands down on the concrete, and it just scraped
Oh,
all the skin all the way off my hand. I made it to the end of the hill, hit the end of the hill, rolled in the grass. He was like, "That was awesome."
was it?
The worst part is the footage. To this day, the footage is gone. Like, I don't know what happened to the footage.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was the last time I hit the board.
Wow. It's funny you bring up Oliver's name, because there's always the chance that he'll like watch this video.
Dude, no doubt.
But
shout out to you, Oliver.
A super obscure Oliver moment or memory I have is in high school. He was over at my house one time, and he made some comment about calling my dog Woodrow Wilson. I don't know why. He couldn't remember my dog's name, and he just blurted out the name Woodrow Wilson. And I said, "You know what, Oliver? That is definitely not my dog's name. But if I ever get a dog,
it's a great name.
I will name that dog Woodrow Wilson in your honor." My wife and I got a dog, female dog. We didn't feel like Woodrow Wilson applied, but this year we got a second dog, and I 100% named him Woodrow Wilson because I remember that stupid memory. So
best dog name ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the early 2000s were great for friends and for
exactly. We've never had better friendships than that. David Codd mentioned Halo, the LAN party Halo.
Dude,
you were a Halo guy?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like that hit really right when I was in college, like my freshman year. People played Halo 1, but like I enjoyed casually Halo 1. But at our school, there was always the guys who were like super obsessed. And so I had some friends who were older and would literally just, they had memorized the spawn patterns. So they would and run to the next place I would spawn and kill me, and run to the next place I would spawn. I just died over and over again. Of course, they're screen watching. Yeah. It was painful, dude.
Oh yeah,
painful. So I spent the majority of my competitive gaming in that first year of college in a game called Mario Kart 64.
There it is. We played a good amount of OG Counter-Strike.
Dude,
in high school. That was
Counter-Strike, man.
That was our thing. That was our.
That was definitely my game. I don't know if it still holds up today. I don't really play that much CS:GO, but like the only LAN party I've ever driven to out of state was a Counter-Strike LAN party. I remember me and a buddy made our own maps of Counter-Strike.
That's awesome.
It was really fun. We rented a server of Counter-Strike, our own server, so we could just kick people and like turn on God mode when we wanted.
Oh yeah.
It was good times, dude. It was good times. That was some good games, man. Those were some really good games.
We also played a good amount of Jedi Academy.
Right? Wootini!
Yeah, Wootini! We would always type in the quick console command to make us look like Jawas. And Raleigh's here, so we can actually begin the real stream.
Okay, good. Let's go ahead and start. Yeah, let's start now.
Welcome to Super Squad D, where the D stands for about darn time that Raleigh showed up.
Oh, I was going to say, don't send me any other vinyls, Raleigh, because you keep sending them to me and I keep buying them. I need help.
Send it to me. I'm the one that actually respects the medium, not this joker.
No, I don't at all. I just buy them, man. He sent me something today and said, buy this, and I just did it within 30 seconds. Didn't even think about it. I didn't even put it in my cart. I can't buy it now on Amazon.
It was stock. He got you to buy some stock in his startup.
Hey, you know what? Maybe it'll turn more returns than this vinyl.
Maybe so.
David Codd brings a good point. First, I want to mention Oscar said Unreal Tournament. Unreal Tournament was a balling game. Didn't really get into it super, but I remember really liking it for the little bit that I played. That was more of my style than like Doom. I don't even remember if Doom had multiplayer back then, but and then David Codd makes a great point. Really, Smash Bros has been great for hanging with about every generation. Like that's one of the truly best, and I think Mario Kart also has also done that very well. When you think of games that you played with other people as a kid, like those two properties have really hit every generation since ours. Ours and then every generation forward. Mario Kart, Smash Bros.
Still
perfect.
So 64 Smash Bros, the OG Smash Bros, that was like in college, every single waking moment, we were in our friend Tyler Robinson and Justin Nowlin's dorm room.
That was the time I got in
playing
place
Smash.
with a different Tyler in your life. I remember
Yes.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was like, you know
Hey,
what?
Stanley's here. Hey,
The old one.
Stanley.
Yes, it's about time.
I haven't
Now, we
talked to
had-
you in about 30 minutes.
We had to get like a half hour into the stream before Raleigh and Ryan showed up. Come on,
That's
guys.
it. That's
Come on,
good.
guys.
They get to make a late appearance.
Whew, man.
So
I will say one thing though. I will say one more thing.
Say it. Do it. I dare you.
Yeah, we're getting we're about a half hour into this little talk, and it's a good talk. I'm enjoying it. But I mentioned that music was what was getting me thinking about high school because some of those bands and songs were popping up on Spotify. Yep. I miss the early 2000s rock music.
Dude, me too.
It was right before emo was hitting. All
yeah.
Right? And we had this glorious...
Remember Stained?
Okay, well, thank you. And now
16 Shades of Grey. Let's go.
You know what? Never mind.
That was right before 50 Shades. Then we got 50 Shades. It's like, what in the world? How many Shades of Grey are there? All I know is 16. I tell you that much right now.
I do not want... Never mind. This was not the early 2000s rock music I wanted to... No,
Puddle of Mud?
So we... Puddle of Mud, baby! Ow. That's how that Puddle of Mud lead singer sang. He's ain't like them.
Josie Scott. I'm with you, dude.
Yeah. There was a decent music scene around us when we were in high school, by the way. And it's that genre that was like it was like indie rock right before emo hit.
Yeah.
And it was super like that was like the people that were into the music scene would wear their sister's blue jeans and had like no problem.
I definitely wore some girl jeans. I was trying to admit it. Absolutely.
But we called them girl jeans.
Yeah. And I straight up, they were girl jeans. Like, absolutely. Wore girl jeans.
My younger brother's friends would get so mad when I'd be like, "Oh, dude, you got your girl jeans on?" They'd be like, "These are skinny jeans."
But that was really before skinny jeans was a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't cool. Like, it just was cool in our area.
Yeah, like, you put on girl pants and you went to some crazy. You went to a Joan Zeta concert. You put on girl pants and you went to
Fusion. We hit up a lot of Fusion concerts. I went to every Fusion concert, dude. Every single Fusion concert.
Like the one of them.
All four of them. Thank you very much.
Let's have a poll. Let's have a poll in the chat. Who had the better band name in our separate bands in high school?
Ooh.
Tyler's band, Fusion, or a band I was in called Snazzy O'Doul, the Cuban Revolution.
Yeah, but which one of us actually got sued for our name?
Right. Wow. Yeah, so I miss that music. Outcast in the early 2000s.
Outcast was great.
You got any music that you want to shout out?
Yeah, like, honestly, dude, that music, and then, like, really that rock really was it, man. Like, Rock 93.9 I loved Rock 93.9. I liked a lot of mainstream rock, but I also liked a lot of the indie stuff. Like, I did like Thrice and Taking Back Sunday. Those two bands, like, man, I listened to some Taking Back Sunday. That was like early Dashboard Confessional, early Death Cab for Cutie. Like, when those bands dropped in the early 2000s, dude.
Those were like the launching point for like the emo music that then took over somehow.
Yeah, it really did. And really, like, it was one of the things where, I don't know if it's still this way for kids today, but like, then you wanted to be in the know. Like, you wanted to be like, oh, I've listened to this band for 6 months. Now they got a song on the radio. Okay, you posers. I've already listened.
Yeah.
Like, I already know about this band.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is absolutely stupid. And it was a dumb, like, way to gatekeep. But in high school, like, that felt like you were super into rock if you really knew about the bands before they got huge.
We fell in the weird generational gap between like true millennials and like the Gen Xers before us, and so it's like we weren't hipsters because hipsters didn't exist yet, but we were kind of hipsters,
Yeah.
and like emo music was coming, but we weren't like we were too self-aware to be emo, and it was just a weird time, but it was pure.
It was our time.
Pure time.
And that's like the trailer for our new Netflix movie.
Right.
It was a weird time, but it was our time.
Oh man, who we got in the Korn and Marilyn Manson? I never got too into the Korn or Marilyn Manson, but I got into some I guess
Pre-dubstep techno.
Yeah, well, well, I don't mean to brag, but no, that wasn't it either, actually. Well, whoops. Yeah, I got into some early, I guess, screamo music. I was into that.
For sure. Screamo.
What was it? Norma Jean. Norma Jean. That band was awesome. I don't know if you ever listened to them. They were good. No, that's good.
In 20 years. 20 years. All right, so let's talk about some quick comics. I know you weren't really big into comics then.
I read whatever you just pulled out of like your stash in your closet.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, stop bothering me to read this comic book real quick. I'd be like, all right.
But some comics that I think really held up from the early 2000s, I tried to pick some stuff that like wasn't, I mean, it is mainstream popular, but it wasn't like the most popular. But during that time, like the two books that really stick out are Ultimate Spider-Man and the Teen Titans. Teen Titans by Jeff Johns. Both of those comic series just I absolutely loved. They hit me at the right time. Like I was out of comics and then Ultimate Spider-Man came out and I read it and was like, this is amazing, and totally brought me back into comics. And then Teen Titans was a big deal for me because I loved Young Justice, the series, and Teen Titans was the same characters but just a little bit older, and as they had aged up, I had aged up. And so it was a good time for comics for me. But of course you got series like Hush and Flash by John, a bunch of other good series, but really Ultimate Spider-Man and Teen Titans are the two that really resonate with me. M. Scott are saying Ultimate Spider-Man got him into comics. Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Resonating with him as well. That's cool then that obviously an impactful series if it meant
it was a smart marketing move on Marvel's standpoint, because they basically said, hey, forget all the continuity, forget having to know everything. Like, what if the Marvel Universe kicked off in the year 2000?
Yeah.
So it was like Spider-Man in the year 2000, which made a lot of sense, and was a lot of those Ultimate comics got pulled from for a lot of the Marvel movies.
Yeah. It's the type of rebooting that makes sense, because when you've had like a long-running story arc, that has been going for what, like 40 years by that point? 50, 40 years, something like that. Yeah, why not go ahead and say, okay, let's just go ahead and start fresh, because we have just piled story on top of story on top of story. Let's go ahead and start fresh. That's the type of rebooting that makes sense. Rebooting the Spider-Man movie franchise in like
one too many times.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit too fast.
Well, the thing that I liked about the comics is that they did it without like erasing the regular mainstream comics too. So they existed simultaneously with each other. So like it didn't alienate all the original fans. Oh man, people are talking about web comics right now. Penny Arcade and Control Alt Delete, dude. Those that and oh man, all right. We can't talk about nostalgia. I don't know where this would fall, but I guess it would be under like webtoons. Yeah. Without talking about Homestar Runner.
Of course not. Homestar Runner.
Strong Bad.
I should have worn my my Strong Bad T-shirt tonight. Should have.
Hey, it's the Jordan.
All right, favorite Homestar character. Go.
Oh, Homestar.
Homestar,
definitely.
Homestar, no question.
100%, dude.
When you've got a character.
Homestar.
His entire origin story for Homestar was a Strong Bad email had a typo in it, and he just ran with it and created a brand new short, stuffy Homestar who talked like, hey! He's perfect.
Come back, Ali, sister. For the Burninator. It was so good.
Former roommate of mine had a beagle. Former roommate of mine had a beagle that I used to often call Little Brother.
So good, dude.
He could do it on his
own. So good. Oh, man. Penny Arcade. There was a time when I don't know how many things I haven't read now, but for a while I had read every Penny Arcade.
Yep.
Like, absolutely. Chat Omni Dog in the house.
Yep. Penny Arcade was a favorite. One of my favorites, and I'm still obsessed with everything this man does, no surprise, is Dinosaur Comics and Ryan North.
Yeah, Ryan North is a genius.
Love Dinosaur Comics. Still, just anything Ryan North does, I pre-purchase all of his books, like, and Kickstarter, all that. So he's actually done a couple of, going back to Choose Your Own Adventure, he took Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet and turned them into Choose Your Own Adventure novels.
That's awesome.
Which is
That's
brilliant,
amazing.
And I highly recommend them all.
Dude, VG Cats was, Raleigh mentions VG Cats, which was so good, dude. There was so many VG Cats that resonated with me, man. What a great time to be alive. Like, that was what I mean, it's not like early internet, because early internet's like 95 to like 2000, where you have like AOL and dial-up. But like, really the early 2000s to me is my golden era of the internet, because everything was so fresh and so pure, and like there wasn't bajillions of marketing like algorithms, and I don't know, man, I just loved everything about the internet and the creative outlets that it created before it became so commercialized like it is today.
Right.
I mean, it was so
there was another Flash cartoon that was kind of a short-lived thing, and it actually was more of like a side project for some guys that were doing like a lot of animation in other areas, but it was called Waterman Studios, and my younger brother and I still to this day quote Waterman Studios all the time. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just this little short lived. It had just a few episodes. Oh, we just quoted it constantly. So that's another one that if anyone in the chat remembers Waterman or ever saw it, then props to you, because I'm pretty sure it was just me and my younger brother as the only people that did.
Chad Omnidog, you could absolutely join Super Squad D if you grow a beard.
Yeah, that's the only rule.
Oscar says playing ROMs, which was huge, dude. They still exist, obviously, and people still play them, but like when they first came out, it was like, oh my gosh, I can finally play all these games that I haven't been able to play before.
Because
what
happens now are the NES Classic, SNES Classic, or just like digital copies.
And they roll with it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some anime. Let's jump into some anime for a sec.
Jump into some anime, and we got a little game to play. And then I think we can wrap it up, call it a night.
That's
after
it.
That, so.
Well, anime and TV. Let's just do TV in general, including anime.
Yeah.
Because the anime that I had really thought about, that I know you're all going to be on board with, that totally still holds up today and is amazing, FLCL. 6 episodes, totally weird anime that is still weird today. It is received today as it was then, weirdly beautiful. No, obviously like Trigun and Cowboy Bebop. I mean, both of those series were staples in the anime world, and Joseph and I have been obsessed with both of them pretty much since they came out.
And like the weird thing about them is that both of them technically like predate our high school years, but like
that was just when we saw.
Yeah, really had not, I feel like, really caught on. Like in our high school years was when anime, and I know, Rob. Our high school years was really when anime like was becoming mainstream in the States. So much of it that we owed to Toonami.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that counts there. And then of course there's the anime that you and I have a very special bond over that we've talked about before. Our early internet history. If you want to talk about that a little bit, I don't know if you feel like it still holds up or not. And if you want to bring it.
I mean, the way the series ended was okay, but PlanetNaruto.com will forever be one of the greatest endeavors in life I've ever created and done. Like Joseph and I had a website, for those who don't know, called PlanetNaruto.com. They got moderately successful about Naruto, and it started it like when Naruto was out with like 20 episodes in Japan. Like it was super fresh, and we had like we had all these like write-ups, like the same thing every anime site had. But the two things that really we were known for were, one, we did live action jutsu tutorials that were amazing, by the way. We did the sexy no jutsu. We did, I can't remember all the jutsus we did that were live action. They were, wow.
What all did we do?
So good.
Yeah.
But But here's the other thing that we did, and I don't say this lightly. I know you guys are going to roll your eyes, but it's 100% true.
It's so true.
I'm pretty sure Joseph and I invented the podcast. Like, I'm like 99% sure. Because when we had this site, we both, I don't know, like, we were like, you know what? There should be a radio show.
Right. Let's do an internet radio show.
Talk about Naruto. And it should be about 30 to 45 minutes long. We should make it. We should pre-record it. And we should put it up and let people download it and listen to it while they're working.
Yep.
If that's not a podcast, I really don't know what is.
That's what
I'm
we
like
did.
99%.
That's what we did.
If I ever run for political office, I'm absolutely claiming that I invented the podcast, like Al Gore invented the internet.
No question. No question. We weirdly enough had, as like a couple of high schoolers, had people that were like fans of the site that like would like message us. We had like a little forum and people would talk in the forum. We had some
people mailed us like stuff they made.
Yeah. Well, no, there's somebody who lived on the West Coast and like was like, oh yeah, I go to Japan constantly. I'll go get some like Naruto stuff from Japan and I'll ship it to you.
And they did it.
And we had this random Naruto stuff. They're super kind people. It was so weird. And then being high schoolers, like if we had realized what was going on, we could have kept that site going and it could have been like the main like fan website for years. But being high schoolers, we just got bored and stopped doing it.
So what happened to me is I went to college and then I made a website called bleachportal.net, which legitimately became the second biggest Bleach website, like on the internet, the second biggest one. Like at that time, it was taking in like $250 or $300 a month, which was huge for a college student. But I had other priorities and I didn't care. And we had people who like worked on the site, like we called them staff, like whatever, I don't know what it means. And they just kept the site going. And eventually they took over the PayPal and like I was just totally out. I didn't do anything with it. And I had an old email address that I never checked. And I went back and checked it at some point. And there were like 50 emails from these guys being like, dude, the domain name is about to expire. Please do not let this happen. Please, we will pay for the domain name. Please just like forward it to us. And I missed all the emails. They lost the domain name and the site basically died. It was truly tragic. Honestly, truly tragic.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Early internet anime sites. Good times. So here's a show that I thought for sure you were going to mention.
Okay.
When we were talking about shows. Mm-hmm. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
See, Space Ghost Coast to Coast to me is purely a 90s show.
Is it? I'm just not super up on what time. I feel like I didn't discover that until the early 2000s.
It started. In fact, it actually started. I'm looking it up. It started in 94. So it was going a while ago. And so that's why I didn't necessarily mention it. You raid Bleach and Naruto sites, yet One Piece is still running. Coincidence?
I think not.
We killed 2 animes, is what you're getting at.
That, and then the 2 shows that I really loved were Lost and Scrubs. Those 2 shows. I know Lost is super polarizing.
Yeah.
Scrubs is beloved by everyone who's ever seen it.
Of course.
Because it's incredible.
Yeah.
I loved Lost. I thought the ending was great. And then Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Still one of my absolute favorite animated shows.
Look at that. He's right
love
there.
The show.
There he is.
Love the series. Love everything about it. I think the movie is one of, if not the best Batman films ever come out.
Okay.
And mad love for that.
Yeah.
Mad love for it.
Scrubs was, I mentioned that like for whatever reason I wasn't watching much TV back then. So like a lot of people our age loved that 70s show. Never watched it.
Yeah.
A lot of people our age loved The OC. Never watched it.
Yeah.
A lot of people our age loved, a lot of it. But Scrubs was the one show back then that I actually did watch all of and kept up with all the time. And so, yeah, Scrubs is definitely one of them. David Codd bringing up C-Lab 2021.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that show in a long time.
C-Lab, that was like, I think the best Adult Swim time. And maybe it's just because I'm a boomer. And I don't understand all the current or the shows that came on after, like C-Lab and Aqua Teen and all of those like beautiful shows.
Now I was a big Aqua Teen fan.
Yeah.
Are you saying you were an Aqua Teen? You just don't
Oh
understand
yeah.
the ones after Aqua Teen.
No,
Okay, yeah.
absolutely an Aqua Teen
Yeah,
fan.
okay.
It's all the
Hey,
stuff
boy,
that comes
what
on
you
after.
doing over there? I know what you're doing in there.
I still,
Yeah, Meatball, what are you doing over there? Carl was amazing.
yeah, I still remember
Yo, man.
the episode where the Martians came in and had the Foreigner belt, and they would sing Foreigner. They would mention Foreigner song titles, and it would. So Carl was like, "I'm gonna stop you," and he was like, "How can you stop us when you're cold as ice?" And Carl freezes.
Dude,
So good.
this show is actually like the show we're doing right now. Not like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but like all of this nostalgia talk badly makes me want to go replay and rewatch a lot of this stuff. And I like once we stop streaming, I'm absolutely about to watch some Aqua Teen Hunger Force, like
Might as well.
110%.
Might.
So I did
as
discover
well.
that Toonami is apparently still ongoing. I never see it, or like, I mean, really, live TV in general doesn't really get watched by, I don't know. I feel like not many people, certainly not me.
No, like I
Because
can't tell
can
you.
just stream everything or download everything, even if it's the next day after it airs. Like,
Yeah, if it's not live sports, like I'm not gonna tune into something as it's on.
But I did discover last year that Toonami has a website. No, I'm sorry, Adult Swim has a website.
And a lot of the stuff's on there.
Well, it has a 24/7 channel with no commercials that just plays stuff. And so while I was working, I would leave that open on my second monitor and just watch stuff, and it was really fun. I watched like I've never seen Attack on Titan. I watched like 5 episodes and just some random stuff. But the humor title cards from Adult Swim, like in between shows, really shaped a lot of my filmmaking and humor style. Like I love just those basic title cards. They get me, man.
That's interesting. That was such an influence, but I'm not one to talk. I've often credited Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Space Ghost Coast to Coast as shaping my humor in general. So
there you go.
Whatever.
So that was a good trip down memory lane.
Man, that brought up a lot more stuff that I hadn't even considered. You know?
Yeah.
Like I was pretty much just thinking about like the time I went to a show around here of the band Cool Hand Luke, because that song pops up. Next thing I know, I'm talking about Meatwad and Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So good. Robot Chicken! We didn't even mention Robot Chicken.
Oh, dude, how do we not mention Robot Chicken? Dude, wow. Fumbles is one of my favorite characters from Robot Chicken. I don't know if you remember Fumbles, but he was amazing. If you don't remember him, just go Google a Fumbles sketch. Yeah, Smallville was a great show, dude. I don't know. I
never saw it.
Holds up. Really?
Yeah, I never saw it.
I think that show for me really was like seasons 1 through 4, extremely well done. 5 to 7, kind of trying to figure out how to pivot from like a high school show to something new.
Sure.
And then like 8 to 10, fully embracing its superhero roots and show and origins, and like evolved with the audience into what would then become like the modern day CW shows.
Yeah.
And pay for all of them for superhero shows. But so good.
So good. Like I said, TV to me back then, I just didn't watch much of it. So I know that's weird. I know that's weird. Yeah, good walk down memory lane. Let's play a little game real quick to kind of start rounding out the episode before we hit a few headlines, nerdy headlines, and then wrap things up.
A few news things. Yeah, we have a few news things breaking.
So let's play a game real quick, and I'm gonna need suggestions from the audience. No, this is not an improv game because we it could kind of be. So in the live chat, I want you to go ahead and just throw out a random celebrity, but preferably a celebrity that like we're all relatively familiar with. So don't
don't say obscure that nobody knows, like
right,
like so, Lil Bow Wow.
Right? Yeah. No one. No, it's you just
Lil Bow Wow.
A celebrity no one knows, Tyler, not a celebrity no one cares about. There's a difference.
You move so fast across the flow.
So
you're gonna run through my...
Yeah, throw out a celebrity name, and we'll go from there. So, actually, M. Scotter is probably already knowing where the game is going to go, because it's a game idea that was just thrown to us from a friend of ours that he mentioned to me and to Scott in a group text, but a simple game of trying to figure out the celebrity that another celebrity will have the least in common with. Like, probably has no idea. And we're going to try to just figure out what would be the most comical, definitely not, like, you know, accurate, like, connection at all. For example, the example that he gave, my friend Kyle Hilton, who came up with this game, gave an example of how he believes Sean Connery has probably never heard a Green Day song. So that is the unconnected celebrity. So this is the opposite of, like, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. All right, we're gonna try to find celebrities. So looking at the chat, we got Abe Lincoln, Katie Couric, Ashley Simpson, Reginald Vell Johnson, Oprah. All right, let's try to figure out, Tyler, who would be the people that have the least in common with some of these names, and the chat's gonna vote on who wins the game between me and you. All right, that's
okay.
Simple rules. Okay. You get to go first. You want to pick one of them?
Okay, I'm gonna do Ashley Simpson, and I'm going to say she has the least in common with Ninja.
The streamer Ninja. So you think that Ashley Simpson has never tuned in to a Ninja stream?
I don't think she even believes he's a celebrity.
Do you believe he's a celebrity?
That's not the game, man. That is not the game, and you're changing the rules, and no.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I believe that Reginald Vell Johnson, who we all know and love.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, why did I just forget his character's name? Carl Winslow.
Oh, yeah. Right? He's a great actor.
Right? Unless I'm getting him confused. Am I getting Reginald Vell Johnson confused? Tyler's making me second guess, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one. But I'm almost positive that he is totally unfamiliar with the musical stylings of Jack Johnson. I just don't see a way that man has ever listened to Jack Johnson before in his life.
You know what? I respect that. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say that somebody who's never listened to the music of Jack Black is Abe Lincoln. I can say I feel extremely confident that Abe Lincoln, up in heaven, ain't never listened to Jack Black.
I almost feel like that shouldn't be allowed, but to be fair, we didn't give any stipulations on the celebrities. So I'm also going to go with Abe Lincoln, but I think a less likely connection is that Abe Lincoln would be interested at all in the creations of Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think that Abe Lincoln would think a musical based on Alexander Hamilton would be foolish. That's what I think about Abe Lincoln. I don't think he'd be into it. I don't think he'd be into Hamilton. Is that what you think about Hamilton? Is that what I think about what now?
Hamilton?
Oh, Hamilton the musical?
Yeah, do you think it's foolish? Like, let's get a quick breakdown of.
No interest. 0% interest in Hamilton the musical. Yeah. In fact, I actually get pretty annoyed with. Good grief, Scott. Good Lord, Scott, that's too good. It's too good. It's too good.
That's
or was Abe Lincoln's problem that he loved theaters too much, you know?
Yeah, it's really hard to know.
I actually I get annoyed with Lin-Manuel. I don't like him in general. In general.
I'm gonna say that Katie Couric.
Okay. All right.
Has probably never, ever watched a film. She's never seen the movie Quest for the Metallic Chartreuse Microphone. I feel very confident saying she's never done that.
I feel very confident saying that no one should ever have seen the terrible film.
45-minute feature-length film. What do you mean? It's great.
Terrible 45-minute long movie that you and I made in high school. No one should ever have seen that. I think that Oprah has nothing in common with either of us. Is really what it comes down to. We're not celebrities.
Oprah gets along with everybody, but probably us.
Oprah's friends with so many people. It's hard to think of who Oprah would have nothing in common with. But
Yeah.
let's say that Oprah has probably.
I bet you she was never friends with Harvey Weinstein.
I mean, that's probably true. I don't know how many people were actually friends with Harvey
It
Weinstein.
doesn't seem like many.
Yeah. I bet that Oprah. I bet that, you know what? Throwing it back a little bit. I bet that Oprah doesn't care for Christopher Nolan films. She doesn't seem like the
Wow.
type. She doesn't seem like the type.
That's true.
There we
I
go.
bet you Katie Couric, I honestly think, like, truthfully, I think Katie Couric has probably never seen a single Marvel Studios film.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't think she likes Marvel Studios at all. Like, I don't
Okay.
think, like, she strikes me as the type of person who'd be like, nah, it's nonsense. That's foolishness.
All right.
Oprah was probably a big fan of our Naruto site.
Everyone was a fan of Planet
Yeah.
Naruto. Every single person. All right.
How else would you? Where else would you learn how to do the jutsus?
All right. Those in the chat can tell us who they think the best disconnected celebrity pairing is that we got to there. And in the meantime, we're gonna hit up some of the headlines that from the past week or so.
Webster and Vanilla Ice weren't very close.
Not a chance.
I doubt it.
Well documented their hatred of each other.
The,
All right.
the feud of Webster and Vanilla.
Let's see some of the headlines we got. One, let's see. Oh yeah, some news came out. Some Xbox news has come out. Some of the titles that are in development for the upcoming Xbox console, the Xbox X, which I think you're probably planning on getting. Or have you decided on that, Tyler? Are you going to go for it?
I mean, who am I kidding? I'm going to get both systems day one. I'm weak. I have no self-control. It's going to happen.
You monster. But the one that seemed to spark a lot of negative publicity was the visuals in Halo Infinity.
They were bad, dude. They just weren't good.
Right. They just were. But one name that was dropped that got a lot of attention is they have plans to make another Fable game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't play very much on the Xbox, but I played all the Fable games and was a fan. Well, I played Fable 1, 2, and 3. I think they had a lot of spin-off games since then. I didn't play those. I like them.
Fable, it's a great series, but my problem with Fable is ever since Fable 1, they're like, coming soon, Fable 2.
Yeah.
You get transported physically into the world of Fable. You can live there for eternity. And then they just can never deliver on these like way over the hype promises. They're like, the gameplay is fully cinematic. And you're like, I don't know if that's possible. And then it always just ends up disappointing. So like, I've always enjoyed the games. I didn't play 3. I really stopped at 2, but I love 2. But I feel like
best.
I trust nothing that they tell me about Fable.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the headlines, according to one of the Xbox studio heads that popped out, a quote was, making Fable 4 feels like making a new Star Wars movie. And I just saw that quote and I was like, I assume he's talking about like the difficulty of dealing with such a grand scale, beloved, but polarizing franchise. And I didn't read into the quote, but that's one of the headlines I saw was the challenge there. And I get it. I totally get it. I don't envy them undertaking that task, but I'm interested in it because maybe it'll be more like 2 than it was 3. All right,
I was disappointed by the Xbox overall thing. That may be another live stream for another day.
A lot of people were.
Once we kind of 15 studios and only showed 9 studios worth of games, and very little of it was actual gameplay.
Yeah, I think we need to maybe deep dive into some of that stuff. I don't know, next week.
Yeah, that sounds like a spoiler for next week. So another news thing is that Tenet has had its release date changed like 1,000 times. And now they're basically like releasing it internationally for everywhere but the U.S. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the U.S., but they've pushed back the date in the U.S. and they're just like, you know what? Forget it. Let's just release it everywhere across the world. We don't really care what happens. We got to get this movie out. So for those sci-fi fans who are excited about seeing Robert Pattinson and a Chris Nolan film to wrap it all up,
oh yeah,
that's good. That's a good one. Also, Umbrella Academy season 2 drops on Netflix this week. If you watch season 1 or you're super into it, season 2 is going to drop. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And and then Hawkeye. So you'll really appreciate this.
Yeah.
They cast Kate Bishop
Yeah, they did.
for the series. They cast Haley Steinfeld, who's an amazing, like a really good actress, and she'd be perfect for this role.
True Grit's an amazing movie. That's all I got.
Never seen it, but she was good in Into the Spider-Verse. That's what
I thought you were going to say in Pitch Perfect, the Pitch Perfect sequels, which I know you're a huge fan of.
Well, I thought about mentioning Bumblebee, but I didn't really see that film, so.
Neither did anyone else.
Turns out. But I'm super excited about that because everybody's super, like, who doesn't love the Hawkeye run? I've literally not known anybody who's read the Hawkeye run by Fraction with Kate Bishop and has been like, I didn't really like it.
Right.
Like, it's amazing.
It's the only omnibus I own.
Yeah, that says it all right there.
Yeah. Man, you just you sped through all the headlines you got. All right, well, I'm gonna throw out one more headline. And this one is not upcoming news or anything like that, and a lot of you've probably already seen it, but I think it's fascinating, is that someone actually went through coding on Super Mario 64, one of the most beloved games of all time, and discovered there was a little bit of unused leftover code for Luigi in the game. So all of those L is real 64, rumors, conspiracy theories and all that, turns out they were true. He was supposed to be in there.
Hashtag confirmed.
So apparently there were talks of putting him in there in a multiplayer format in the game. And someone was even able to like take like the coding and like the textures and image and actually put it onto like a Mario model, say, hey, this is what he would have looked like. And they're supposed to be in there, and they just, didn't have space. It was Nintendo 64 on your shirt, launch title, all of that, limited. Huge game. Massive game.
Massive.
The scale of that game, even now, still, it seems massive to me. So far removed. But obviously something that they wanted to do because, on some, I think they put out a DS release. It that
fun.
had.
And they did put in other characters to play as, yeah.
So anyway. That's I thought that was a pretty cool.
Rocked the gaming world.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I got. Those are my nerd news headlines for this week, July.
It's been a good week, guys.
28th.
It's been a good week, good live show. Thanks for coming out to the stream.
That's gonna be from here on out my like old man news anchor voice. I'm going to go, and that's your nerd news headlines for this evening, Tuesday, July 28th. Do you like it?
It sounds perfect to me.
Do you like it?
Cool. I loved it. I'd like you to record that and let me make that my ringtone, which would be really confusing people. Because
Tyler, you're getting a phone call right now. Do you like
perfect.
that? Can I do that?
It's so good.
Tell anyone... YouTube just censored Raleigh's attempt at making a joke about nude news headlines. And I think that's appropriate, Raleigh. Your comment will never show up in the chat because it's held for review for some reason. Oh, that's great. And I think that's a good note to end things. If anyone would like me to record messages for them speaking like this, just tell me. And I'll do it. I don't even care. I got nothing going on in my life. So, all right. Whew. Another SSD in the books. Flawless, flawless show. I don't think we made any mistakes or made a fool of ourselves in any sort of way. Thanks for tuning in. Special shout out to our guest star today. Had a great time chatting with famous, legendary British comedian Monty Python. Loved having Monty on the show. Great guy, as always. Yep. So, whew. That over there has been, is that it? Nope, there it is. Hey, that has been the one, the only, Tyler Blunt.
And that's Sinead O'Connor. Until next time, everybody, this has been Super Squad D, where the D stands for Super Squad D. The D stands for stuff.
Sinead?